Hello, YouTube. Scamp the Wolf here, and it's St. Patrick's Day, and I thought I'd do a stream on today. So we're going to be talking about green album covers because, of course, it's St. Patrick's Day, and like the color green is associated with St. Patrick's Day and all that stuff. So I thought I'd show you guys some green, like some of the albums in my collection that have green covers, green album covers. And yeah, I'm not wearing green. This is actually the same shirt that I wore previously, so yeah, think about that all you want on this last stream that I did. So I have 30 albums here. I have 30 albums that I was going to talk about. I'm going to take a look at in this video. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. And it was kind of hard to look for green album covers, but I found these 30. And I have a ton of CDs, so yeah. Hope you guys have a good St. Patrick's Day and all that stuff, and hope you guys are having a good St. Patrick's Day. Sorry, I said that twice, but whatever. And let's get into it. Okay. The first one here, North Lane Alien. There we go. Now, you could debate on whether this is green. It looks kind of yellowish, but I figured why not put it in because there is some green on it. It is a greenish yellow on here. I just threw it in here. Of course, North Lane, one of my favorite bands. And they're actually coming out with a new single. I know about that. The song is called Clockwork. And I might react to that on stream. Show you what this looks like in here. Booklet. Yeah, some good songs on here. Of course, Details Matter, Bloodline, Talking Heads, and Sleepless. Those would be the songs to check out if you want to listen to this album, for sure. This is my second favorite. This album here is my second favorite North Lane album behind Mesmer, and definitely recommend it, especially if you're into progressive metalcore and all that stuff, and you want something that's different. So there's that. Next up, we have a not so well known band. They were one of those early 2000s bands, and it's the band Memento Beginnings. This is another green album cover ish. It has green grass on it, so of course. Here's the back. Here's this. Very underrated. I got into this band I heard about this band in 2013 because I was checking all kinds of rare, unheard of nu metal bands back then, and this was just one of them. So yeah, Nothing Sacred is a good song. Stare is a good song. Coming is a good song. There's some good stuff on here. This is one of my favorites albums of ever, but it's still pretty good. Still a pretty good album. Underrated too. This is one of the more underrated songs. bands actually from the lesser known like bands that are now like irrelevant now, but like whatever. This is still a good album. Memento Beginnings, good. Next up, we have alternative rock band, progressive-ish kind of Dread with Catch Without Arms. This is a very good album. I would need to listen to it more, but I really like it. I don't have a lot of Dread in my collection. I have this one and El Cielo. I would like to have more of their stuff. Disc. Good songs on here. Ode to the Sun, Bug Eyes, the title track, Zebra Skin, Spit Shine, and especially the song Hung Over on a Tuesday. That song is probably my favorite on this album. There's other good songs on here too, but this is probably my favorite from this band, so whatever. Dread with. Is it Dread or Dread? I don't know. I don't know how their name is pronounced. Oh, Dread with Catch Without Arms. That's this one. Next up, going into some classic progressive metal, or progressive rock, actually, not progressive metal. Yes, Close to the Edge. Of course, this is a lot of people's favorite Yes album. I don't have that many Yes albums. I only have like two, other than this one, of course. This is Close to the Edge, and it's regarded as one of their best. And the disc. This only has 3 tracks because they're super long. Close to the Edge, the title track is like 18 minutes, 15 seconds. Yeah, I heard this. It's pretty good for what I heard of it. Definitely interested in looking more into bands of progressive rock, like early progressive rock stuff. It's pretty good. And yeah, there's just tons of stuff on here. I was surprised to find this. And for a good deal too, $1.99. Can't go wrong with that. It's Yes, Catch Without Arms. Next is another one of those rare alternative rock, alternative metal-ish bands. Closure. Got this in 2014. Haven't heard this one much, but it's fine. You know. Here's this. It has songs like Look Out Below on it, Oxygen, Whatever Made You, whatever. I Don't Mind the Rain, Fragile, Afterglow. So if you want to check this out, go ahead, check it out. Closure. Self-titled album. Next up, we got another new metal-ish band here. And this isn't completely green of an album cover, but it has some green on it. Haster, The Current Sea. Found this at Second Spin in 2018, as I explained previously on the last stream that I did. And this is not a lot of people know about this band. I think they're very good. If you like new metal, if you like that kind of style, this is a way better version of like Mudvayne or something. They're lighter than Mudvayne, but the lead vocalist kind of sounds like that, and he's way better, I think. Unpopular opinion, I don't like Mudvayne. That's what the back looks like. Good songs on here: The Unseen, Haunt Me, Substance Low, Asphyxiate, The Artist's Life, Connection Error, Shoved Aside, Your Silence. They're pretty good. Pretty good. Now, it's kind of hard to find a physical copy of this, of course. But if you can, good for you. Definitely good for you. And also, it's available on Spotify and all that stuff. So if you want to hear this, check it out there. That's all I have to say. Next, we have Days of the News Green album. This is their second album. And this isn't a band I listen to too much, but like they're good. They're good, like post grunge band from the '90s and stuff like that. Travis Meek's project, of course. Tracks on here: Flight Response, Enemy, Skeleton Key, Bring Yourself, and strangely enough, the 10th track might be untitled because, as you can see here, 10th track doesn't have a track name, so it's probably untitled. I don't know. I would have to look it up, but I think it's untitled. I don't know. Yeah, so pretty good stuff. Days of the New. Next up is some metalcore, some like Devil Wears Prada, Dead Throne. I know there's a lot of people that don't like the Devil Wears Prada as much. I think they're pretty solid for what they do. Like, they're not a band I listen to all the time, but like, I can appreciate them. Like, I'm not as judgmental when it comes to music, so whatever. This here is the. Oddly enough, there's no disc tray or anything like that. I'd have to get the disc out. This weird way they did it. There we go. Good songs on here: Untitled, Mammoth, Vengeance, Born to Lose, Forever Decay, Chicago, Constance. And Constance actually features Tim Lambesis from As I Lay Dying on it. And As I Lay Dying actually has an album in this. We're gonna in this stack of CDs here because they have a green album cover. So yeah, Death Throne, Devil Wears Prada. That's it. Next up is another hard rock band, lesser known band, Epidemic. This came out in 2002, and this is one of those albums that doesn't have a track listing on the back. It's just a picture of the band. And there. The track listing is actually in the inlay. So, and this is actually one of my favorite lesser known hard rock, alternative metal, alternative rock, whatever you want to say, kind of bands. Like one of the lesser knowns of the 2000s, that whole 2000s thing, you know. Good songs on here. Walk Away, that's a great song. Catalyst, Slightest Trace, Generic the Norm, that's a good song. Currency of Cynics, that's good. Disconnected, Shallow, Undercurrent, Burden of a Thought. Yeah, there's some great stuff on here. If you want to check out something that's not well known like this, if you want something you want like if you're like lesser known, you're a fan of this style, give this one a listen. This is some good stuff. Very good stuff. Epidemic, self-titled album, their only album. I know that the lead singer is in a couple other projects. That's all I know about to the best of my knowledge, but you know, whatever. You can check those out too if you want. Kind of harder to find, but whatever. I know this was also a band formed by members of Racer X or something. I don't know much about Racer X. I think they might be like thrash metal or something like that. It's kind of weird that a thrash metal band or like a metal band like that would be morphed into like an alternative metalish band, but like still very good stuff. Epidemic, self-titled one, very good. Next up, we have, I think it's alternative rock from the 90s, 1994. Blues Traveler with 4. Of course, I got this at Book Off, as you can see by the sticker here. And I didn't even know that this was alternative rock. I heard the name Blues Traveler, and I thought, oh, they're probably something from another genre, until I saw Crash Thompson's I Love This Song on Blues Traveler. And then I looked them up. I was like, oh, hey, this is an alternative rock band from another one of those forgotten about names. And I've not really listened to a lot of this. I just know they're alternative rock. Like, so, some of the songs on here: Run Around, Stand, Look Around, Fallible, The Mountains Win Again, Crash Burn, Hook, Just Wait, Brother John. Just some of the songs on this album. So that's Blues Traveler with 4. Very solid, I guess. Next up, metalcore is some metalcore, and this is actually this band's most recent work. August Burns Red, Guardians. This is actually their best in a long time. I know August Burns Red gets flack for sounding the same and all that stuff, but you know what? This is really good stuff nonetheless. Like, easily since Rescue and Restore and Constellations, I think those two are their other best, but this is one, probably my favorite. Probably, I don't know. Either this or Constellations is my favorite. Here's the inside of the book here. The case to get the disc out, and the disc is also green as well. So that's good. Some tracks to check out here are The Narrative and especially Bones, which Bones is so good. Paramount, Lighthouse, Dismembered Memory, Extinct by Instinct, and Empty Heaven, and Three Fountains. Even the Defender, even though that's not one of the best songs on this album, but whatever. If you're doubting on Guardians, like, my best bet would be to go in and have an open mind, and you'll probably have a good time with this. If you're doubting this, oh, this is probably going to be another generic something that they've already done before. But you know what? August Burns Red is a band that most times does the same thing well. Like, I think this really reminded me of like the best from Constellations and Rescue and Restore. Like, this is kind of like the best of those two albums, and more specifically, like the best of their older and earlier stuff combined into one. So definitely give this one a chance. August Burns Red, Guardians, their latest album. Easily in my top 10 favorites of last year. Next up is one of my favorite bands of all time. It's their second album, Seven Dust Home. And I should probably do a Seven Dust CD collection video in the future. So be on the lookout for that as well. So I know this also comes in a digipack, but this one comes in a jewel case. And you have the disc here. And this is also one of their best, in my opinion. Top 3 or top 5 for sure. Definitely. This is some excellent new metal stuff here. Title track, Denial, Head Trip, Insecure, Reconnect, Waffle, Rumblefish, Crumbled, Feel So, and Bender, which features Chino Moreno of Deftones. Another one of my favorite bands. Yeah, Home is top 5 for me as far as Seven Dust is concerned. Probably the best album in 1999, I'm not sure. But there's a lot of people who would probably say that about Seven Dust. Seven Dust definitely has a lot of great material. Their earlier stuff is better than their newer stuff, but all around, I just think they're a pretty good band. Like, I think Animosity and Seasons are probably better than this album, though, but this album is still, for being number 3 or number 4, either of those two numbers, still very good, I think. Whenever I listen to this album, I just find it really hard to stop listening to it. So that's Home from Seven Dust, their sophomore release, and one of their best. Next up is another lesser known band, much like Epidemic and Memento. It's Alive, Human Resources. Yeah, this was released by Wind Up in either '09 or '10. There's a 2010. It says 2010 on a little credit here. 2010 Wind Up Records, and this is the only album from this band. And I got this in 2011. There's some good stuff on here. The Bottom, Pieces, Liar, Back into the Rain, Refuge from the Wreckage, whatever, Changing Colors. I don't listen to this a lot, but it's still good for what it is. It's fine. Oh, and Here's to You is another song on here. It's not really they're one of those bands I don't know. I don't know, they're kind of post-hardcore, kind of sort of, not really. They're more alternative metal-ish hard rock, but their vocals kind of sounds like somebody from a post-hardcore ish kind of band, but whatever. Maybe I'm just not remembering it enough. I'm not. I don't know. I didn't listen to this CD as much. There you go. Shut up. I didn't listen to it as much as other albums, but whatever. It's Alive, Human Resources. Next up, we have this band's most recent work, and they're a post-grunge band, Bush the Kingdom. This is their latest and probably their best out of their most recent work. Another good album would be Man on the Run, but this album followed Black and White Rainbows, which is probably their weakest. But the Kingdom's good because they can adapt to a more modern rock style well, I think, and it's also trip back into their older sound. I think, of course, you get Flowers on a Grave and The Kingdom, which both songs are very good out of that alternative rock, hard rock style. But you also have tracks like Bullet Holes, which was from the John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum soundtrack. That was its song. You also have excellent stuff like Blood River, Quicksand, Scent of the Clowns, Crossroads, Words Are Not Impediments, Falling Away, stuff like that. It sounds like it could be a heavier 16 Stone or something. This is their best album in a long time. And yeah, that goes without saying. So this is Bush with the Kingdom, their most recent album. And probably one of their best. I know that's kind of weird to say, but whatever. Next up, we have this band, this progressive metal band here, The Contortionist Language. This is one of their best, I think. This was their first with Michael Lessard on vocals, as opposed to the other guy. And if you saw the collection video I had for The Contortionist, you know all about that. There we go. I had to be careful because the disc holder thing was kind of loose. Over. Good songs on here. Both language, parts, intuition, conspire, primordial sound, ebb and flow, arise, and especially the parable. Those are great songs on this album. I think this is their second best album behind Clairvoyant. Clairvoyant is better than this, but this is still awesome, I think. The Contortionists, they just have a unique sound, unprecedented in the genre. And out of the newer progressive metal bands, I just really like their sound a lot. Language is a great album. And if you don't know much about progressive metal and you're wanting to check a band out in that genre, I say check this one out. Contortionist Language album from 2014. Next up, we have another less forgotten about band, 9 Days, The Madding Crowd. Of course, everyone knows absolutely Story of a Girl in this one. And to be honest, I don't listen to this one that much. If I come back to this album, it's usually absolutely Story of a Girl, which is a pretty good song. But there is pretty good stuff on here. I mean, I'm not gonna lie about it. Like, there's stuff on here that's pretty good for one of these like Matchbox 20 kind of bands, kind of sort of a little bit like So Far Away. Of course, absolutely Story of a Girl. There's tracks on other tracks on here like End Up Alone, Bob Dylan, 257 Weeks, Revolve. You know, there's other stuff. That's some of the other songs in here. I like that it has a sticker on it, like that promotes that has that song. But I think Epic Records just put the stickers on the CDs, like on the CD cases. I think that's because I know they did that with a couple Chevelle albums that I have. So yeah, that's what it is. 9 Days, The Madden Crowd. Decent band. Probably check them out if you want. Next up is Damiera music. This is kind of post-hardcore-esque kind of music. This is a slip cover. And I know this is a slip cover, but there's... Yeah, this is also kind of green too, this cover as well. I'll show the disc. And did I show... Sorry that my throat is kind of gunky a little bit. I don't know why. Tracks like Emir, the first track, that's a great song. But there's other songs on here. Lessons, Music, title track, I Am Pulse, Ember Eason, Flora, Yield, Broken Hands. You know, Damiera, the lead singer of this, would eventually form the band Hidden Hospitals, which is another good band. I have Surface Tension on CD back there, but that album cover was not green, and this cover was, so I had to put this one on here. So, Damiera, music, very underrated band. Definitely give them a listen. Next up, we have a metalcore album, and I teased that we were going to see this band here later on the list. As I Lay Dying, An Ocean Between Us. Now I know this band is fairly controversial considering what happened with the lead singer, but I don't care about that. He's moved on from that, so I say why not go ahead and listen to this band, especially this album. This is one of the best that metalcore has to offer, in my opinion. And you have the disc on here. You can't go wrong with this album as far as the metalcore genre is concerned. A lot of people consider this their best, and I would have to agree with that. Tracks like Nothing Left and the title track are good. Within Destruction, Forsaken, Comfort Betrays. I Never Wanted, Bury Us All, with that Wrath Upon Ourselves. Pretty much every song on here is good. Like, and you wonder why people say this is great. So yeah, Ocean Between Us, their fourth studio album. Very good stuff. Surprisingly, I don't have Shaped by Fire on CD, but I will change that eventually. That's An Ocean Between Us by As I Lay Dying, their fourth album, of course, I just said. Now, we have a hard rock band. And I debated on whether this looked green or not because I just threw it in here because it does kind of look greenish. Breaking Benjamin, Phobia. This is, of course, their most popular, their most successful album, of course. Not my favorite, like a lot of people think, but, you know, still good. Breaking Benjamin is good. One of my favorite hard rock bands, whatever. Not my favorite, but still, they still make good music, in my opinion. And I threw this in, even though it's a greenish brown color, it still looks green, so I threw it in here. Of course, you have classic songs, Diary of Jane and Breath, and Until the End. Those are classics on this album. But you also have tracks like Evil Angel and Dance with the Devil as well on here, and Had Enough and Topless. So, yeah, this is good. I would either say Dear Agony or Saturate is my favorite. Saturate is very underrated, I think, and I just like the raw intensity of that album. And Dear Agony was my first Breaking Benjamin album, so yeah, Phobia, I don't listen to it like as much as those two, but still good. Probably either 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, something like around those lines. More than likely, probably 8 out of 10. Next up, we have a alternative rock-ish band, progressive metal, rock actually, not metal, with progressive stuff going on. Relations in the Unseen, the Intersphere. Now, this one looks greenish blue, actually. Not truly green, but whatever. And it also comes in this interesting looking case. I know Long Branch Records usually sometimes does this case. Definitely good stuff. This has some good songs on here. The title track, Thanks for Nothing, The Ones We Never Knew, Out of Phase, Origin Unknown, Like It Is, Panic Waves, Joker. You should. If you like alternative like rock, give this a try. You should listen to it. There's underrated stuff. I should get more Intersphere albums from this band, like Hold On Liberty and their other basically their other stuff. Most importantly, Hold On Liberty, because that one is also very good. Just like this one. Relations in the Unseen by the Intersphere. Now, we get to one of my top 5 favorite bands of all time. I did a collection video for them. And once again, I debated on whether this looked green or not, but whatever. You'll have to judge for yourself. Saturday Night Wrist. One of their weaker albums, but it's still pretty good. I guess I said this before. The hatred must have to do with Pink's Cell Phone, because everyone hates that song. But you ignore that track and you listen to the rest of the album, there's still some good stuff. Definitely. Even though this is one of their weaker albums, you shouldn't let that one song ruin the experience for you, because the rest of the stuff is actually pretty good. Like, especially Hole in the Earth, Beware, Cherry Waves, Rats, 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 Combat, Kim Dracula, and Riviere. Riviere being my favorite. And the song Main, which features Surge from System of a Down. And I could have thrown Toxicity on here because it kind of looks greenish, but I didn't. But whatever. Just maybe that's an honorable mention. I don't know. Greenish brown, kind of whatever. Whatever. I should have thrown Toxicity on here because that's a great album, but like whatever. Yeah. And this is the clean version because, well, they had to censor Pink's cell phone a little bit on this, so better. That I definitely could have did a good job in that, but whatever. Yeah. So that's Saturday Night Wrist by Deftones, fairly underrated. Next up, we have some progressive music, progressive rock-esque, modern progressive rock. Coheed and Cambria, the second stage Turbine Blade. And this is the special edition that was released in 2005. This album came out in 2002. This is the slipcover, the back, and disc. And I'll show the back of the slipcover too. One of the albums I got at Second Spin before it closed, as you can see by the little use sticker. This is one of the Coheed and Cambria albums I listen to, but like what? There's tracks like the title track, Time Consumer, Devil in Jersey City, Delirium Trigger, Earshot, Kid Disaster, June Song Provision, whatever. Elf Tower, New Mexico, that's a B-side. And there's a lot of demos and stuff. 2 demos and acoustic stuff on here. So, yeah, I'm not... Coheed and Cambria, they're a good band. Definitely. I wouldn't say this is one of my favorites for them. The 2 after them I'm more familiar with than this one, but this one's still good. Second Stage Turbine Blade debut from Coheed and Cambria. Next up is another metalcore band. One of the Trustkill bands. It Dies Today, Sirens. This is really the only It Dies Today album that does anything for me nowadays. Because I'm not huge into this style as I was, but there's tracks on here from this track listing here that I come back to every now and then and have a good time. So there it is. There's tracks like A Port in Any Storm. That's the song that I come back to the most on this album. The Bacchanal, whatever affair, however you pronounce that word. 6th of June, Reignite the Fires. The title track, Turn Loose the Doves. A Constant Reminder. Pretty good metalcore album. If you like old metalcore, you should like mid 2000s metalcore, then you should give this a try. You want It Dies Today, Sirens. Next up is another metalcore band. It's a Christian metalcore band and fairly popular in these circles. Demon Hunter, Storm the Gates of Hell. 4th album, and probably one of their better ones in my opinion. Oh, that's unpopular. People say like the Triptych is really good. True Defiance is really good. Like those, there's a lot of people that say that, but this is also pretty good. A good album, in my opinion. Like definitely, I think the first half is stronger than the second half with songs like "Storm the Gates of Hell," the title track, "Lead Us Home," 16, "Fading Away," "Carry Me Down," "I Am You," "Incision." I know Incision and I Am You are the second half, but like the first half is still pretty good. Even The Wrath of God, I think it's a pretty good song. This was back when Demon Hunter was way better than they are now. I know they had Songs of Death and Resurrection, which I listened to on a live stream, but man, Outlive, War, Peace, nah. I know people like Peace a little bit more than War, but those 3 albums that I mentioned are their worst, in my opinion. Especially Outlive. Yeah. So, yeah, I think The World's a Thorn is their best, but this is still good. Storm the Gates of Hell, Demon Hunter, still a pretty good album nonetheless. There we go. Next up is another one of those rock-ish bands, like more pop rock kind of. Tonic Sugar. This is their second album. And kind of underrated. Not often I'll listen to this, but it's still good for what it is. You have You Wanted More, which was the single Future Says Run, title tracks Stronger Than Mine, Queen, Waltz With Me, Sunflower, Waiting for the Light to Change, Top Falls Down, whatever. So that's Tonic Sugar, their second album. And if you like pop rock, 90s, late 90s, early 2000s pop rock like this, you should check this out. Next is a Christian nu metal band, POD Testify. And not huge into POD, but they have songs that I like, especially from the album Satellite, which is their most successful. They were one of the first big Christian nu metal bands, Christian rock. I know Switchfoot, Skillet, those bands get a lot of attention from people, but this is another one. So you have songs like Roots in Stereo, Lights Out, Goodbye for Now, which features Katy Perry before she became this overrated pop star. You can think of that whatever you want, but whatever. On the Grind, Mistakes and Glories, Teachers, Say Hello, Mark My Words. So if you like POD, you should definitely give this a try. If you like Christian nu metal, you're not familiar with it, you should probably listen to this. Whatever. POD Sugar. That's Tonic. Sorry about POD Testify. That's the album. Next up, another rock band, Finger 11 Tip. This is definitely one of the first albums I thought of when I thought green album cover. This is their debut. Go. Here's the back. Very underrated band. They got big with Paralyzer later on in their career, but this is still underrated. Their nu metal phase is kind of underrated. Songs like Quicksand, Tip, Shudder, Awaken Dreaming, Condenser, Glimpse, Costume for Gutterball, Temporary Arms, Swallowtail. Those are just some of the songs on this album, Tip. So if you like, and they're also Canadian too, so one of the better Canadian bands, I'm sure. So if you like that, if you like that style, like nu metal-esque kind of music, like this is not as good as their second album, Grace of Blue Skies, but this is still a pretty good album. So, Tip by the band Finger 11. Next up, this isn't really a green album cover per se, but I decided because green is in the band's name, Green Day Warning. Yeah, I know. Look at all the green on that. The green is in the text. The band name text. I just figured I'd throw Green Day on here, a Green Day album on here for old time's sake. So don't judge me. Yeah, but this is a good band. Like I haven't listened to Warning much, but still pretty good. There's songs on here like the title track, Church on Sunday, Castaway, Deadbeat Holiday, Jackass, Waiting, and Macy's Day Parade. So, yeah. This was the album before American Idiot came out. And American Idiot was another surge in popularity for this band. This one seems to not be as popular from what I know. I know Dookie and American Idiot were their most popular albums. But this one you should let slip by if you're a big Green Day fan. If you're looking to get into this style, this punk rock style. So that's Warning by Green Day. Technically not green, but whatever. Next up is definitely qualified to be a green album cover, and it's another rock band. Weezer, the Green Album. Yeah. This is one of their colored albums. There we go. Of course, Hashtag was a big single for them. But you also have Don't Let Go, Photograph, Island in the Sun, Crab, Glorious Day, Simple Pages, whatever. Wait, hold on. So yeah, it's not the Blue album, but it's good. And they just recently released an album, and they're gonna come out with another album this year as well. Weezer, releases a ton of albums. Like, I don't know why. I'm not huge on Weezer. I only have 3 of their albums. This one, Pinkerton, and their Blue album. But, like, Weezer is a good band. Like, I would like to get more of their stuff. So, this is the Green Album by Weezer. And finally, alternative rock. You'd prefer an astronaut. One of the bands that helped Deftones get influenced Deftones, I guess. Or alternative rock-ish. And it's very good. And here is the case. Here's the booklet and the disc, rather. You have Little Dipper, The Pod, Stars, The Very Old Man, Why I Like the Robins, and Songs of Farewell and Departure. On here, those songs are pretty good. So yeah, you'd prefer an astronaut. Definitely an underrated band for sure. Well, we just went through all 30 of those. Felt like 10 minutes, but it's 47 minutes and 11 seconds. So, well, I guess that's it for the day. So, thanks for watching this video. This is Scamp the Wolf, signing off. Ticker.